Yes, Daniel?
As you know, I admire your courage and your clear analysis, but I also disagree, as you know, with one thing you say. You said there will never be a modern Islam. And I don't know how you know that. Islam has changed. I'm a historian. I'm a historian. Studies change over time. Everything human changes over time. I took up the study of Islam in 1969, 45 years ago. Islam is very different and much worse than it was in 1969. If it can get worse, it can get better. Islam changes. I can we have a seminar and I'll tell you about how Islam has changed. How do you know it can't get better? How do you know there can't be a modern Islam? Why are you rejecting this possibility beforehand? Now, Lars is skeptical, I accept that. But you're saying absolutely no, it can't happen.
Yes. Well, Daniel and I know each other for a long time, and we do respect each other, and we have had the discussion many times before, and sometimes we even agree to disagree. But indeed, I don't believe that Islam will ever change. Islam is the word. Look at the Quran. The Quran is, together with the Hadith and the life of Muhammad, Surah, the Quran is the way, the basis of Islam. And the Quran, Muslims believe, is the word of God. It cannot be changed. And of course, people change. Daniel, I believe that. I don't believe that Islam has ever changed in the past. When it got worse, and indeed it did, it gets worse every day, and it's because people change. And people change, unfortunately, for the worse, not for the better. So yes, I believe that even though today it gets worse every second, look at the Islamic State, look what is happening in your country, in my country, that will not change. But the people can change. And I'm not a theologian. I believe that, once again, why people believe in Islam, it's none of my business. But I am a politician, I'm a lawmaker, and I tell you what I just told you before, that I'm not interested if it's changing or not. I'm interested in the people. And if you adhere to our values, you're welcome. And if you are not adhering to our values, you have to go, you have to leave. I don't care if it will change, but it will not. I care about the people in my society. Will women in Copenhagen, in Amsterdam, be free to walk the streets? Or will they be harassed? Will children be free to walk our streets? Will homosexuals be beaten up in Amsterdam by Moroccan youth or not? This is the question we should answer. And if the question is no, we should send them away and stop the immigration of countries where we have this harassment. That is the only question that I want to answer.
Daniel, do you want to comment on that?
Yes, we have argued this point for a decade and more. And I agree with your point about the actions being unacceptable and people changing. So we agree on that. But still, you made very clear in your opening remarks that Islam, modern Islam, there'll never be a modern Islam. So let's put aside the actions of people. Fair enough. Why can there not be a modern Islam? The Quran remains the same, but interpretations of it change. Let me give you one example. There's this short phrase in the Quran, La ikraha fi din, meaning there should be no compulsion in religion. This is a phrase which over the millennia has changed its understanding, its interpretation. I wrote an article in which I showed some dozen different historical understandings of what this term means, from the most rigid and limited to the most liberal. Now, every aspect of the Quran can be dealt with the same way. For example, there are contradictions in the Quran. And as it is now, it tends to be the more severe that are accepted and the less severe which are rejected. That could change. This is human. This is not divine. This is interpretation of the Quran. Interpretation of the Quran has changed and it's changing. And it has changed for the worse, and the more severe. Why don't you admit the possibility it would change for the better?
Well, you know, the Quran and Islam knows a rule called abrogation. And abrogation means that the latest verse in the Quran is valid and unvalid everything that is written before. That's the rule that even moderates in Islam agree with. So indeed, yes, there are passages in the Quran that were saying maybe not too harshest things, but they were, at the end of the day, replaced through abrogation by many parts of the Quran, which I don't believe in, but many Muslims believe in. That is the fact today. Second point, it's the Word of God. It's the Word of God. There are not interpretations today about, there are no Arab or Islamic yeshivas being active today, but people study and interpret the parts of the Quran. They are not existent. So please, let us, once again, agree to disagree, but let us not focus on something that I believe will never happen, and you believe it might happen in 5,000 years. But I am interested in what will happen today and tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, and our country should be safe and safe from the brutality of Islam.